Okay, I'm back and I'm talking about what I ate last week, which was the week of September 29th, 2025. But before I do that, I have a few things that I need to touch on. First of all, apparently it is the season for the historically important New York Times plum torte recipe, which ran sometime in the mid 80s, I believe. Obviously, I did not do any research besides watching a TikTok video about this. Really, what I do at the beginning of every episode now is do a TikTok video breakdown of food related TikTok videos. Okay, so there's a plum torte recipe. It blew everyone's socks off, and people wrote to the New York Times year after year demanding that they reprint the recipe seasonally because, well, now that I think about it, they didn't have the internet, so the only way they could get a recipe if they lost it was to have it reprinted somewhere or ask a friend. So during the 80s, for a few consecutive years, the plum torte recipe ran during plum season. Whenever that is for you. Which actually, this brings me. Well, let me finish this thought first about the plum torte, and then I'll move on to my other thought. Sounds great. It's sort of like a tatatane, but not. It doesn't quite have that crusty pineapple upside down cake style quality to it. But it looks good. I mean, it's simple. It's just like a really simple vanilla cake and plums. There's a specific type of plum that you want to use, and I don't remember. Arthur Schwartz has been talking a lot about plums and baking plums lately in his podcast. Prunes, too. Anyway, plums are one of my favorite fruits. I love when they're tart. And a plum crumble or crisp in the fall is one of the best desserts you could have, in my opinion. Just plums tossed with a little bit of sugar and salt, and then like an oat crumble, oat, butter, flour, cinnamon, salt, of course, a little bit of sugar, crumble topping over it with ice cream or some really loose whipped cream. Yeah. People don't really grow plums around me in North Carolina, so I don't really, it's more of like a peach culture here that has passed at this point. I don't really know when plum season is, and I guess it depends on where you are in the country. Okay, so let's see, late spring through early fall, peak harvest July and August. Okay, so I definitely missed plum season, I guess. That's what I thought. Whatever. Brings me to my next point, which is I saw another TikTok video of someone lamenting the loss of, well, first of all, Martha Stewart's empire, but her Martha Stewart Living magazine used to have a calendar in the beginning of it, which would, and I remember this because my mom subscribed and always had her magazines around. It was a calendar, so it would say like, this is a perfect time to deadhead your dahlias, or this is the perfect time to trim your apple trees, whatever. Every day there was like an activity. Remove your leaves, the dead leaves from your beds. But who is this written for is my question. In my mind, it's very geared towards her Connecticut, New York seasonal lifestyle. When it comes to tomato season, it's like it could be months difference. Who is this calendar geared toward? And I think, yeah, bring it back, but also maybe don't, because it doesn't make sense unless it's a really localized regional publication, because the calendar only works for a select few people. That's my thought on that. I like the idea, but it doesn't really work. I grow roses, the David Austin, when you buy roses from David Austin in the the United States, they send you a booklet, and depending on your region, it has separate calendars for what your schedule looks like in terms of fertilizing, deadheading, watering, weeding, and what you need to do throughout the year, depending on your region. Very helpful and very thoughtful, I think. Although the region that I'm in, southeast of the U.S., they lump Virginia with Florida. And in my opinion, I mean, we do have a lot of the same disease pressures and humidity and considerations, but I don't know, especially if you're in the mountains, you have a completely different life from people living in Florida, and so do your roses. So take that into consideration, and I do. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was apples. It is apple season. Arthur Schwartz has been talking a lot about apples and McCown's. I think I mentioned, when I went to the Old Cider Mill in Glastonbury, Connecticut, when I went home. I mean, it's an old apple orchard town. I mean, when my parents first moved there, it was like all apple orchards, and it's a lot of subdivisions now. But there's still a big apple culture there. There's an apple festival. There's a lot of different apple varieties grown there. And I bought a big grab bag of different apple varieties and brought them home. I didn't bring them all the way home to North Carolina, although I have in the past. And the people down here were shocked at how good apples could taste. And I said, yes, these are the apples we grew up with. Despite living in a apple community surrounded by access to incredible apples, my dad buys Red Delicious apples at the grocery store, which is absolutely insane to me. And so when I went to the Old Cider Mill, I bought him a bag of nice apples and said, please eat these. Should have brought some home because Brian loves apples, and my mom said she would ship some to me. I'm still waiting for her to do that. But in the meantime, I got a White Flower Farm catalog in the mail, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a pretty good mail order plant catalog, mostly for outdoors. So they have like a really good hydrangea selection. They're based in Connecticut. So they do sort of focus on plants for the northern part of the U.S. They have like lilacs, and some roses. I mean, all kinds of flowers, really. But then during the holidays, they'll do wreaths. They have really nice wreaths, and I don't know, they just have really nice quality plants. But anyway, they have a new partnership with a local, I guess it's their neighbor. I forget the name of it, but they have a new partnership with their neighbor who is an heirloom apple grower. So they grow heirloom apple varieties in Connecticut, and you can order a bushel or a bucket or some sort of container of heirloom apples from them, which I think is lovely. Support people who are growing heirloom varieties and keeping them alive. Okay, so those are my intro thoughts. Those are the food news update tidbits of the week, mostly coming from TikTok and other mostly commercial media sources. Okay, September 29th, 2025. It was a Monday. 9 a.m. Counterculture coffee with half and half, made at home. 10:30 a.m. 2 sunny eggs, white cheddar, and sriracha over leftover roasted potatoes, made at home. 1:30 p.m. Shredded wheat cereal with milk. 5:30 p.m. Leftover meatballs and red sauce, mozzarella, arugula, and balsamic vinegar on an olive oil toasted sesame stirato from Ideals. 6:30 p.m. A Klondike ice cream sandwich. Okay, what a day. Breakfast was awful. I don't know. I don't like leftover potatoes that are reheated. They are not what I want to eat. So I mostly ended up throwing most of it away and then eating cereal in the afternoon. So I was really empty and ready to eat a meatball sub. I mean, from the description of what I ate at 5:30 p.m., you cannot tell that this is a meatball sub that I'm describing. Leftover meatballs and red sauce, mozzarella, arugula, balsamic vinegar on an olive oil toasted sesame stirato for my deals. So, ideals in Durham, I've talked about them a lot. Incredible. They do day old bread, and sometimes it's free or like $1. So I had a few in my freezer. So this was my last that I had in my freezer. Defrosted it. I thought I would toast it up a little bit in case it was too hard, like wet it and then toast it. It was actually perfectly soft, but I happened to have a leftover sheet pan in the oven with olive oil still on it that I didn't clean from roasting potatoes. So I just sliced the stirato in half and, the long way, like for a sandwich, put the cut side down in the leftover olive oil and toasted it up. And then I put the mozzarella over that, let it get all melted, just slightly melted. And then meatballs, arugula, balsamic vinegar. And this, the bread was nice and toasty. Like it got really toasted, but not in a way that it's like you're going to break your teeth biting through it. It's like it shattered. It was like super crunchy, but shattery. It's a great bread. I think it's like super water based. So, let's see. The balsamic vinegar helped to soften the bread. The sauce obviously helped to soften the bread. It was a great sandwich. I think it's a little crazy that I'm making a better sandwich than what you can pay $16 for at my least favorite sandwich place in the continental U.S., Alimentari in Raleigh. Okay. I'm still eating these Klondike ice cream sandwiches just to get through them. I mean, it's a painful experience, but it's the only ice cream I have. And you know what? It's good portion control buying a packaged product like that, I will say, because otherwise I'm eating too much ice cream. September 30th, 2025. It was a Tuesday. 7 a.m. Counterculture coffee with half and half made at home. 10:30 a.m. Leftover soup and iced tea. 12:30 p.m. A piece of white cheddar cheese. 1:30 p.m. Mozzarella pearls over baby arugula with balsamic vinegar and Brightland olive oil made at home. 6 p.m. A deluxe chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A in Raleigh, North Carolina. 7 p.m. A chocolate malt milkshake from Cookout in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay. So I don't know if I fully explained my iced tea situation. I'm drinking Kilogram iced tea. I think they're part of Intelligentsia coffee company. They have good tea. They have organic tea. It's a little bit pricey, but they have good sales, so I'll buy tea occasionally on sale. And I have these iced tea blends that I bought from them, so I'm just casually making like a cold brewed iced tea in the fridge. I have this Japanese glass tea infuser that I use. Keep it in a jar in the fridge and just drink a little bit of it. Most of the iced teas that I'm getting from them are pretty hibiscus based, which, is fine. I think I would reconsider next time. Hibiscus is fine, but drinking it all the time, it's like, I don't know. It's just really sour. Like the Crimson blend. I've talked about the ginger plum blend that I use from them. It's nice. It also does have hibiscus in it. I got a Crimson blend, which, well, I'll get into it. Well, actually, I put a link in here, so let me just look at it right now since I'm already talking about it. Why go back and forth? Okay, so organic Crimson iced tea. It's $10.99 for a 3-ounce box. Our stalwart caffeine-free herbal blend seamlessly blends tart with sweet to create succulent, fruity refreshment. Flavors of blueberry, raspberry, and strawberry are combined with hibiscus to provide a dazzling scarlet hue. Ingredients: organic hibiscus, organic rose hips, organic rooibos, organic licorice root, natural flavors of strawberry, raspberry, blueberry. I don't know about the natural flavors part. I mean, I think I sort of blacked out when I saw that. You can say natural. What is that? And do I actually want to be drinking that? I don't know. So they have a Chemex steeping method where you brew hot and then cool it and dilute it. And then they have a cold steeping method. Let's see. The ginger plum iced tea I also have. Let's check that out. Ingredients, again, organic hibiscus, organic rose hips, organic ginger, natural plum flavor, organic stevia, natural essential ginger oil. Ooh, I did not realize that it had stevia in it. No wonder. I was like, this is sweet, but why? I don't like that. Mostly because I just don't like the taste of stevia. I think it has a really bad taste to it. Definitely ruined coffees before by adding stevia to it, not knowing what stevia was. Okay. So anyway, I'm drinking soup and iced tea for breakfast. Mozzarella pearls over baby arugula so Brightland olive oil. I do have something to say about that. I got a bottle for Christmas of Brightland olive oil. If you will recall, the previous Christmas before that, I got a bottle of Brightland pizza oil for Christmas from my mother, and delightful product. It's flavored with herbs and jalapeno, and it tastes like an Italian submarine sandwich. Love it. So the following Christmas, I received a small, very heavy ceramic bottle of Brightland olive oil. It says that it's from Sicily. I think it's a pure or like a single origin olive oil. And I thought, wow, this is special. I cannot wait to open this up and use it. So, my review. I wrote my review down for the Brightland olive oil. Yep, that's oil. It tastes like oil. Like, it doesn't taste like olive oil. I think it tastes like a blended olive oil that's blended with sunflower seeds and is meant for everyday cooking. It doesn't taste like a finishing olive oil, which it based on the package, and I'm sure the price point, it looks like a finishing olive oil. It looks like something that should have some depth or some pepper, like some peppery notes or something, like some sort of flavor besides canola oil. It tastes like canola oil. So that's my review on that. Don't waste your money unless you want a really, really mild olive oil, and that's what you need out of your olive oil experience. I mean, I question it's the authenticity of this oil. I know that is an issue, or I've heard of it to be an issue, especially in the American olive oil import market. You know, what are you actually buying? So, I don't really know anything about Brightland. I mean, I could Google them real quick. Brightland. I mean, it just seems like, should I be trusting them? It seems like a millennial startup. Let's see. Okay. Looks like they're really into packaging. From our founder. Brightland brings joy, beauty, and everyday magic to your table. California grown. Maybe that's why their olive oil is not that good. Let's see. Our story. Brightland was born from sunshine and a simple idea. Great meals start with great ingredients, rooted in California sunshine and crafted with care by family farmers and local makers. Our olive oils, vinegars, and honeys bring beauty, flavor, and a little golden magic to every day. Okay, already not into this. Deliciousness is in the details. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sold. I'm like even less sold. Wow. The reviews on their products are incredible on their own website. No, I'm exiting out of this website. No. Okay. So I had to drop my car off at the dealership. This is a never ending story. I bought a used car. It had some existing damage to it that they agreed to repair. It's taking forever to get it repaired. They did some repairs. I wasn't happy with it. They fixed a dent on the back of the car, and when I went to pick it up, the paint, like they fixed the dent, but the paint was still falling off and chipped. And I thought, okay, well, it's not actually fixed. Like, this is going to rust and be a problem. So I had to drop off the car. I mean, it's just whatever. So anyway, what happens is at the end of my workday, I drive to Raleigh. Brian's already in Raleigh working. He meets me at the car dealership, picks me up in his car, and we're like, well, we're out. Why don't we eat out? So we went to Chick-fil-A. I don't know. Desperation, I guess. I got a spicy chicken. Well, I forgot to say spicy. A deluxe spicy chicken sandwich. It was dry as hell. Bread, cheese, unmelted Kraft single cheese on a spicy chicken sandwich fillet. I don't know what you call it. I mean, the chicken was good quality. It was not spicy, and it didn't have that Chick-fil-A flavor to it. You know that like Chick-fil-A flavor? At least growing up, like we didn't have Chick-fil-A growing up. So when we'd visit our cousins in Georgia, it was like the best week of my life because we would go to Chick-fil-A. And well, they say it's pepper. No. Pickle brine. It has that pickle juice brininess to it. It has that sumptuous, I mean, maybe that's just the little nuggets, but I don't know. The chicken I ate, it was missing that flavor. I don't know if they're cutting back on their process. Brian got some sort of meal. I don't remember what he got. Some sort of sandwich meal. And then he also got chicken strips on the side. And he gave me a chicken strip. It was pretty good, but it was, more flavorful than the big piece of chicken I had in my sandwich, my dry ass sandwich. How is it a deluxe sandwich? And it's like, do you have to ask for condiments on it? Like, there wasn't even mayonnaise on it. It was just dry lettuce, tomato, unmelted floppy Kraft single, and a big, thick, unflavored chicken, basically. It sucked. And the chicken strips are like the width of your finger. So that's why I stopped going there. I mean, like a couple years ago, I went and paid like $14 for a chicken strip meal, and the chicken strips were all the size of my pinky. And again, that's what their chicken strips look like these days. I think the nuggets are what you need to get in reality. And of course, Brian orders the worst sauce, in my opinion, the honey mustard. So I had a chicken strip with the honey mustard, which was fine. I don't know. I really think the nuggets are the only thing that's good there. I don't like the waffle fries. I'm sorry. They're too dry and potatoey. It's a fun shape, but I don't know. It's not for me. And we kept joking about also going to Cookout. Brian was starving. I mean, that's why he got chicken strips on top of his full meal. And he got in line for Cookout. And I said, this is insane. We cannot also get Cookout. So he drove away. And then I was like, wait, should we go to Cookout? So then he got back in line. And I was like, wait, this is crazy. We can't. So we got back out of line. And then I was like, wait, let's just get milkshakes. So we got back in line at Cookout. We actually parked and went inside and got 2 chocolate malts from Cookout in Raleigh. And by the time we got home, the milkshakes were perfectly melted to the point that you could drink them through a straw. And I usually do really like the chocolate malt from Cookout. I think if you add mix-ins to it, it gets too sweet. Because first of all, it's like they're just putting Hershey's chocolate syrup on vanilla ice cream and adding malt powder. So it's like already too sweet. If you add more stuff in there, it's ridiculous. It's also a $4 milkshake. The quality is not really there, but it's a good texture. It's really smooth and creamy. I will say that these tasted a little off, not in a way that I think that we have listeria and are going to die, but in a way where the latte machine that I've complained about at the car dealership tastes like it's never been cleaned. It tastes like raisins to me, or cigarettes. Like it has that like raisin quality where it's like, I don't know. I always talk about there's this like scent that I pick up in things sometimes that's like raisin, and sometimes like an unsmoked cigarette smells like raisins to me. Raisins smell like raisins to me, but sometimes like maybe it's like a fermented sugar that I'm smelling, like a fermented something, or I don't know. Anyway, have I talked about the latte machine at the car dealership that we go to? It's called Leith Honda. I'm never going back there again after I pick up my car for the last time. But they have a latte machine, it makes coffee or whatever. Brian drank 6 lattes from it, and I think he's probably going to die. I mean, and the coffee tastes horrendous. It tastes like if you left a raisin in a cup of water in the sun for a day by accident and then drank it. So this milkshake from Cookout kind of tasted like that. It had like a hint of that weird fermented, something wasn't cleaned, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Maybe my taste is off, which would make this whole project a lot more interesting if that's what we figured out. Anyway, October 1st, 2025. It was a Wednesday, 7:30 a.m. Counterculture coffee with half and half made at home. 8:30 a.m. 2 sunny eggs on olive oil toasted La Farm sourdough with baby arugula and sriracha made at home. 11:30 a.m. Leftover soup. 3 p.m. Pumpkin cheesecake sandwich cookies from Whole Foods. 6 p.m. Tofu, carrot, Frodo bell pepper, celery, and onion in brown sauce over jasmine rice made at home. 8 p.m. Half of a Klondike ice cream sandwich. Okay. So, pretty boring day. I did eat these pumpkin cheesecake sandwich cookies from Whole Foods, which seasonally Whole Foods will have different sandwich cookie flavors, and they're a end cap product, at the end of the aisle when you're going to checkout. They're usually there. So I've had a few of them. Last winter they had like a gingerbread sandwich cookie that I had that was great. Very nostalgic. Sort of tasted like those iced, it's like a hard gingerbread man with hard icing that I grew up with. I don't know, maybe it's like an Archway product. That company that makes those soft molasses cookies that are in the shape of a flower that we grew up eating. Very good. But if you also recall, earlier this year, I gave one of their other flavors a try and ended up throwing them away. It was the yuzu. I think it was like a vanilla yuzu sandwich cookie. It's disgusting. So the verdict on these pumpkin cheesecake sandwich cookies, I like them. They taste exactly like the Stouffer's brand, and not like the Lasagna's brand, but there's a different Stouffer's. I think maybe it's the same. Stouffer's iced animal cookies. Hold on. Do they also make the lasagna? Stouffer's iced animal cookies. I think it's a different company. They're called animal cookies. But they used to come in like a papery bag, like a papery. They used to come in like the same bag as like, do you remember Mexican wedding cookies as they were, or like Danish wedding cookies? They were also advertised as by Keebler, and they came in a pink bag. Oh my God. They only would release them around the holidays, and my dad would lose his mind. And my whole family, we would like order them and then eat them all around Christmas. Oh my God. And one Christmas, like a few years ago, my sister ordered them again. They're hard to find, but I think Keebler Danish wedding cookies. Oh, they just fall apart when you eat them, and they're covered in powdered sugar. They just fall up, like they're so tender. And they just came in this pink box that, oh, it's so nostalgic to me. Anyway, I think they're also known as Mexican wedding cookies, but I could be wrong. Okay, so these Stouffer's iced animal cookies have like a slight cinnamon. They're nice and crispy, and then they're covered in either pink or white icing, like a really thin layer. Delightful. I once tried to explain it to one of my old coworkers when I worked on a farm, and for my last day of work, she ordered a giant box of them for me and gave them to me as a gift. It was one of the nicest, most thoughtful gifts anyone's ever given to me. I thought they were long gone, but no, they're definitely still widely available. You do not confuse these with the circus animal cookies or any other type of animal crackers that are terrible. These are special and more cinnamony. Actually, when I Googled this, another thing came up, Stouffer's Iced Gingerbread Cookies. Maybe that's the same brand that I really like that I mentioned. Yeah, yeah. So this same brand, Stouffer's, makes an iced gingerbread man, very classic looking, and delicious, nice and crispy with that thin icing. Wonderful. Yeah, so it's no wonder that. Anyway, the two so far the two Whole Foods brand sandwich cookie flavors that I really like are just a different shape of a Stouffer's cookie flavor. Maybe it's the same kitchen. Maybe they're actually outsourcing this to Stouffer's. I'm not detecting any pumpkin in this cookie. I think it's really like a pumpkin spice flavor that's coming through, like a cinnamon. And the cheesecake, I don't know. Maybe there's like a little bit of tartness in the icing that's supposed to make you think of a cream cheese, but overall it just tastes like a ginger cinnamon cookie. It's good. My one complaint is that they really leave a sugar residue on your teeth, like I've not experienced in a long time. Okay, let's move on. October 2nd, 2025. It was a Thursday. 7 a.m. Counterculture coffee with half and half made at home. 11 a.m. Leftover tofu and vegetables over rice. 2:30 p.m. Pumpkin cheesecake sandwich cookies from Whole Foods. 6 p.m. Spicy big tray chicken with rice noodles made at home. So, one note is that I finally finished my bag of half calf even keel counterculture coffee, and I have switched to fully caffeinated coffee, and wow, do I notice a difference. I feel crazy now. I feel absolutely insane because here's the thing. I got used to drinking half calf and thinking I can drink more coffee now. I can drink 4 cups of coffee. So now I'm just supposed to suddenly cut back to drinking only 2? I don't think so. I'm drinking 3 cups of full calf coffee. So I'm drinking more caffeine than I should be, and I feel insane. Maybe you can hear it in my voice. Plus, I'm taking sips of Coke Zero every now and again. Brian's back to drinking Coke Zero all the time, and every time he opens a Coke Zero, he gives me the first sip, mostly because I force him to. I just want a sip. I want a spicy cold sip of Coke Zero, CZ, as we call it in our house. And I don't want a whole one. I just want a sip. But couple sips throughout the day. If I drink a whole Coke Zero, first of all, it makes me feel absolutely insane and it makes me feel sick and I can't do it. I just want the spicy first sip. And, you know, does it upset Brian? It doesn't matter. I let him know it's the girlfriend tax. That's the price of having me occupy the same house as you. And I make you dinner every night. So, okay, so let's talk about spicy big tray chicken. One of my favorite recipes available on the New York Times app from Spicy Village and New York Times. We've talked about this before, I think in an archival episode. I have made it many times. It's one of Brian's favorite things that I make. So let's see. I got a bunch of Bell & Evans air chilled chicken thighs. I got like 10 pounds of chicken thighs on sale at Whole Foods. They're in my freezer. I started thawing them and I thought, I'll make coq au vin. I got this crazy bottle of Snoop Dogg wine for my birthday. I'll make coq au vin. And Brian said, we have potatoes already. Why don't we just make spicy big tray chicken? And he was right. It was perfect. I didn't need to go to the grocery store to get anything for it. Wait, did I make this the previous week? And did we already talk about this? Here's my question. Let me see. I don't think so. Yes, I already talked about this. Sorry, because I already made. So I did the same thing again. I did the same thing with the thighs. It worked out well. I already talked about this, guys. Sorry. But, at least I'm consistent with my thoughts, being truthful. Made it again. I mean, got to use up these potatoes. October 3rd, 2025. It was a Friday. 6:30 a.m. Counterculture coffee with half and half made at home. 10:30 a.m. Leftover tofu and vegetables over rice and a glass of kilogram crimson iced tea made at home. 3 p.m. Olive oil toasted La Farm sourdough with bon maman, raspberry jam, and salt made at home. 6 p.m. Leftover spicy big tray chicken and rice noodles. 7 p.m. A cappuccino Oreo milkshake from Cookout in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay. I had to pick up my car that morning. Let's see. So I made all this tofu and vegetable deal in a panic because, Brian needed lunch for the week. He kept forgetting to bring his lunch to work, so I ate it for the rest of the week on my own. I don't know, who knows what he ate. And I ate toast and jam like Frances, the children's book character, for lunch, and it was actually delicious. I mean, olive oil toasted sourdough with raspberry jam and salt. What I really wanted was a butter and raspberry jam. I mean, at that point, you're just eating raspberry buttercream. It's delicious. You're just eating cake. And basically, with enough olive oil, it's a similar experience, I guess, without the milk fat. So yeah, the salt really makes it happen taste-wise. And I had this jar of Bon Maman. I mean, it's probably expired, but I had it in my cabinet, and we had house guests with a child come over, and they said, they wanted to make something for their child to eat, and they said, do you have jam? And I do, but it's frozen, so that wasn't going to work. So I had to crack this jar of Bon Maman red raspberry jam open. It is seeded, but I don't eat jam. So I was like, well, I'm cracking this open and then it's going to sit in my fridge for the rest of time. And it really has. I have not done anything with it since the child had some of it. But it was delicious. And I think I'll have some raspberry jam on toast sometime in the near future. It was that good. It was simple and satisfying. I mean, I think one of the reasons why I don't like jam and why I avoid eating it is, first of all, it's a breakfast food. It's a before dinner food. It's not like a nighttime food. I usually I eat ice cream for lunch, but besides that, I try to eat sweet things at night before I'm going to brush my teeth so that I have the least amount of time possible of having sugar on my teeth. That's the way I need to operate. I cannot stand having sugar on my teeth, and I don't want to be brushing my teeth all day long. So I try and organize my day around eating sugar in the latter quarter of the day. So, raspberry jam at 3 p.m. Okay. It's basically dinner time. It's tea time. I think that's appropriate. It didn't coat my teeth in a gross way like the pumpkin cookies did, or like any really sugary thing would, especially like a soda. Nasty. Like a full fat soda. Yeah, I don't know. This raspberry jam did not, make me feel disgusting. It was actually really delightful. And look, we don't have any ice cream in the house at this point. I think we have a few ice cream sandwiches, but Brian keeps telling me over and over again, I hate ice cream sandwiches. Don't ever buy ice cream sandwiches again. And then he comes home and eats them. So he was so disappointed that we only had ice cream sandwiches in the house. It was a Friday night. He stopped at Cookout on his drive home. Now that we know that the driving time from the North Raleigh Cookout to our house is the perfect amount of time to soften the milkshake for consumption. He got 3 milkshakes. He got a peach cobbler shake. He got a chocolate malt and a cappuccino Oreo. So if you don't know anything about the Cookout milkshake menu, it's insane. There's like over 40 to 50 milkshake flavors you can get, and you can mix the flavors. Some of them have a whole piece of cheesecake in them. Like you can add Oreo to anything. There are different candy mix-ins that you can do. You could add chocolate to anything, peanut butter. The most consistently popular, so many like news sites or people on Reddit or other like independent people who are Cookout fanatics have made their own rankings of the flavors over the years. Banana pudding consistently ranks in the top 5, which I'm not a banana person, so that's automatically out for me, I think. Peach cobbler always ranks really high. It's off menu, but they do have a pumpkin pie flavor right now in October. They put a whole piece of pumpkin pie in the milkshake and blend it up. It's okay. It's pretty good. They have an eggnog flavor in December, which is okay. Watermelon shakes in the summer are popular. I don't know. The chocolate malt for me, it has really good consistency. I do like the peanut butter shakes. Those are really good too. People really like the cheesecake flavors. You can get like a blueberry or a strawberry cheesecake. What else? They have so many flavors. Orange creamsicle. The peach cobbler. Okay, so we got 3 shakes. The peach cobbler is my first time having that. I think because it's always so highly ranked, I was expecting something wonderful. It was really mild. I was looking forward to the chocolate malt because it's usually my favorite, but it had that weird off flavor to it. So That was disappointing, but it did have the best consistency and texture. My cappuccino Oreo milkshake, there was something wrong with it. I think they put a bunch of ice in it, and the consistency was like ice milk. It was kind of nasty. And the cappuccino flavor itself tasted like leftover coffee grounds. I don't know. Like gas station coffee. Mistake. Moving on. October 4th, 2025. It was a Saturday. 8 a.m. Counterculture coffee with half and half made at home. 11 a.m. 2 poached eggs on olive oil toasted La Farm sourdough and a glass of kilogram crimson iced tea made at home. 1:30 p.m. A butterbean and ham croissant, a muscadine jelly croissant, and a muscadine jelly croissant from Boulted Bread in Raleigh, North Carolina. 5 p.m. Chicken soup with potatoes, cannellini beans, celery, carrots, onion, garlic, and tomato paste made at home with baguette from Boulted Bread. 8 p.m. A Blue Bunny ice cream sandwich. So I was alone on a Saturday. Brian had to go into work, so I made some poached eggs for myself. They were lovely and ate them on toast. It was super simple. Brian stopped at Boulted Bread in Raleigh on his way back home, and they had some seasonal pastries. The last time I went there, I think cherries were in season, so every single one of their pastries had cherry in it, which was not a problem for me. So he got these 2 croissant-based pastries. They were different shapes. And first of all their pastries and their bread are spectacular. The actual croissant dough is very whole wheat. So it's a darker and it has flecks of grain throughout. The lamination is wonderful, super crispy, falls apart, very tender. So the 2 pastries that he brought home, one was circular and it was filled with a cold lima bean and really, really finely diced ham mixture. It was dressed with some oil maybe. It was fine. I think it should have been a little bit saltier in my opinion. Or had like bigger salted ham pieces in it. The ham was very sparse. It was good, but Brian ate most of that. I don't really like muscadines or grapes, I especially do not like grape jelly. But muscadines are in season here. They are literally everywhere here. They're a weed. I can go out to my backyard right now and eat muscadines. They're just growing on the ground. The flavor's interesting. I mean, I could eat a couple and be like, well, this is an interesting local delicacy, but I'm not. Brian, on the other hand, can eat them until he passes out. So I was surprised at how good I thought this was. It was like a pinwheel shaped croissant with muscadine jelly in the middle. So when you, took a pinwheel portion off, it had muscadine jelly on the tip of it, which I thought was nicely done. And it was fantastic. Made soup. Made a huge batch of chicken stock. I made some chicken soup. Poached the chicken and pulled the meat out. Left it in the fridge while the rest of the soup cooked. Super simple. I mean, it just had some like onion and garlic and tomato paste cooked out. Then I add the vegetables and the chicken in. And it was perfect with that baguette from Boulted Bread. Again, it's like super like whole grain / local grains. They use different wheat varieties and like heirloom varieties, so it's just like really nutty and it has a real good depth of flavor to it and super chewy. Really amazing fermentation and defined bubbles and structure in the baguette itself. Really amazing quality bread. And it has like the twisted pointed ends that I love. And, they burnt, but it still tastes, it's good. And they bake all of their pastries and breads well done. Very dark. But yeah, I mean, you can just tell they are fermenting their bread correctly. It's wonderful. compared to Alimentari, which needs to be shut down. Okay. October 5th, 2025. It was a Sunday. Counterculture coffee with half and half and leftover spicy baked tray chicken with rice noodles made at home. 11:30 a.m. A few handfuls of chili lime buttered popcorn made at home. 4 p.m. Leftover kilogram iced crimson tea. 6:30 p.m. Baked fusiloni with Italian sausage, mozzarella, pecorino romano, and a tomato sauce made with basil and Snoop Dogg wine, and romaine lettuce with pecorino romano and creamy Caesar dressing made at home. 8 p.m. A blue bunny ice cream sandwich. Okay, so I had a little bit of spicy big tray chicken left. I think I had about 3 thighs left in some sauce. And I still had the chicken stop going. I had it going overnight. I turned it off in the morning. It was still hot. I needed to cool down before I put it away in the freezer. So I ladled in some sauce into it and cooked it back up. I shredded the chicken thighs into the sauce, removed the bones, and it became sort of like a ragu. And then I put some rice noodles in that, and the rice noodles sort of absorbed all that excess chicken stock, and it became like a really nice ragu. Yeah, it was great. Like tossed noodles with that leftover really flavored chicken thigh. Made some popcorn, some heavily buttered popcorn with some chili lime seasoning from Trader Joe's. I had to make a few FaceTime calls, so that was most of my afternoon. And then I came back to make a tomato sauce for this pasta bake, which I'm still using that bronze cut Barilla in the red bags that I got on sale. Pretty good purchase. Had some Italian sausage, fried that in some olive oil with onion and garlic, and deglaze that with some Snoop Dogg wine, a couple of those peppers that I use, chiltepin, really small, spicy, native to the southwest of the U.S. I have them dried in a jar. I like to use them in Italian cooking. Really nice neutral hot flavor. Let's see. I need to grow more of those. And sometimes I'll add fennel seeds, but the Italian sausage was flavored with fennel, so I didn't do that. And then instead of using passata, I did use whole canned tomatoes. I let that cook out with a bunch of basil from the student farm, the NC State agroecology education farm. They have a bunch of basil, including some purple basil, and it's really actually nice. So used a bunch of basil. Let that cook out, and then baked it with a bunch of fresh mozzarella on top and pecorino romano over the top. And it was a lot looser than I meant it to be, but it was good. I don't know. I keep like the last couple of baked pastas that I made, they just didn't have quite enough water to get the pasta. The pasta was like a little too al dente. I went a little overboard, and the pasta turned out a little bit too watery, too cooked. So I need to adjust my ways. Also, I think what threw it off is that I used the tomato instead of a passata, which is a lot thicker. I used the the loose tomatoes in sauce, which just a different water content. I also used a ton of Snoop Dogg wine. I just wanted to get rid of it. And now it's done. All right. That's what the week looked like. Thanks again for listening. Bye-bye.